Welcome to Paperthreads Cutter Vision Tutorials. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how I use the embossing tool with one of my files at paperthreads.com on the Zing machine. And the first thing you'll notice is I have these three washers here. These are a rubber washer that usually sit within these three grooves. And I didn't want them to leave markings on my foil that I'm using, so I rolled them over to the side to get them out of the way. My cutting mat is actually just an old cutting mat that I had here. And then I used a foam material. This is actually a shelf liner material that is a solid shelf liner that I have taped down with duct tape to my mat. And I use this cutting mat for this purpose only. Then I put a small coat of sticky spray. I use this stick and spray. I sprayed that over the top to try to add a little bit of adhesive to this. There's not enough adhesive that it actually lifts up completely, but it does add just a little bit to help my material stick. And then I also use some tape here, just some regular packing tape on all the corners of my metal so that they don't roll up or anything or come loose during the process. I have a file here. This is one of my Doodle Gems files over here, which is available at paperthreads.com. And this is intended for drawing only. So it's a complete drawing file. There was another outline that was around the edge of it, which I deleted because I'm not going to cut this design out. I'm just going to emboss it on my machine. And so with the embosser in and my file up, I'm going to go ahead and go to Cut Project With and choose my Click and Cut Zing. Now to get a better emboss, I do recommend that you do a multi-cut, and I'm going to go ahead and increase my pressure because I want to make sure I get a nice good deep etch or a nice good deep emboss onto this. I'm going to use a speed of 10. If you wanted to do even a better emboss, then you would want to lower that because the more time it has on the material, the better it will emboss for you. I'm going to do this at knife point since my item is about 4 inches high and 3 inches deep, and my material is 6 by 6. I've actually already done this on the other half of the material, so I'm going to use this other half. So I'm going to use knife point so I can use this scrap up. Okay, and my offset is set at 0.35. I can actually change that to no offset because I don't need it to, it's like using a pen tool with this tool, so I don't need an offset. And I'm going to go ahead and move this over so you can see on the machine. And I'm going to do set blade origin at knife point. And go ahead and move my embossing tool over. And when it's over, I'm going to slow this down so I can get more precise. Now I put that as close to the corner as possible. I don't want to go completely over the edge because I am going to use some of that edging on this embossing piece for when I use it later. When everything's set, I go ahead and click Finished, and then I can go ahead and send this to Cut Project. And you'll see it does 2 passes over the metal. You can see here where my foil lifts up a little bit while it's in the process, which is why it's important to take that down. Okay, and that's it. So we're going to go ahead and remove this from the machine. And I'm going to show you, I did this twice. I did this earlier, and I only did one pass on it. And the second time I did a double pass. And you can see here on this double pass one how nice and deeply embossed this is. It's got a real nice embossed look to it. And this would look great either side. Here's the back side of it. So this is the deboss look. So either side would look good on a card. On this first one here, I made a couple of mistakes. It was the first time setting it up. And the first thing is I only did it one pass, so the pattern is not as nice. And the second thing is you see there's a couple of extra etchings in here. It's because I did not quite have my tip on my embossing tip lifted high enough. And so it did some markings across the page. I didn't double check that before I sent it through. And on the back side on this one, while it's got a nice deboss look, it's definitely not as nice as this one where I did two patterns here. Look at how nice and deep that groove is. So that is using the embossing tool with a foil metal on the KNK Zing machine. And again, I want to show you the mat that I made. And here is the mat. This was just an old mat that I had on hand at the time. And this is a foam material that you buy at your Walmart or local hardware store or home store. And you use it to line your shelves, such as your glass shelf and everything, so that when you set your glasses in your cupboard, they don't get nicked. I find that the thickness of this material is about the thickness of a thin craft foam sheet, but it has a better density than a craft foam sheet, and so it tends to work a little bit better than craft foam when doing embossing. And I just use some duct tape on the cutting mat to tape it down, and again I use a little bit of adhesive spray on top of that. And I also wanted to show you the tool that I use is the KNK Zing embossing tool. And this tool has two ends to it. It has a thicker ball head and a smaller ball head. I use the thicker ball head in the machine for the embossing. You can use other embossing tools in your machine with that adjustable blade arm. I just prefer to use the one that has the same dimensions as my blade holder, so that if I decided to cut that pattern out as well at the end of the cut, I could have done that as well. Once again, thank you for watching Paperthreads Cutter Vision tutorials. You can find more tutorials at our blog, www.paperthreadsblog.com, and you can find the Zing machine and tools and accessories at our website at www.paperthreads.com/store. Thank you.